Yeah. Hi, Ganesh. Hi, this is Avinash. Having 11 plus years of experience in IT industry, currently working as a GCP production support, planning to move into the GCP data engineer role. Yeah. Thank you.
And I can see Rohan.
Rohan,
Can you brief about yourself?
Rohan, you are on mute, like if you are speaking. I think he's maybe saying mic is not working.
Yeah, you can go ahead then.
Okay. So hi, everyone. So myself, Swagat. I'm having around 9 years of experience in IT, and I'm been working as a data engineer for past almost 7 years, and I have experience in almost all the cloud technologies, and particularly in GCP. I've been working for past 4 5 years. So as Ganesh might have mentioned to you already, in this course, let me share my slide as well.
Matthew, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah. So Matthew, can you brief about yourself?
Ganesh, we can go to
And
Okay, sure.
I'm a Snowflake. I'm working on SAP side, and I am a Snowflake certified consultant also. Okay, so I have got 15 years experience in SAP Business Warehouse. So I just want to look out how a global GCP and Google this GCP data engineering things works out. So that's the reason I just joined this call.
Thank you. Thank you,
Hello.
Matthew.
Yeah. And I want to know how this works out if it's an SAP BW consultant, whether GCP works and how it is, because we are all working on data side, right? Just want to know more on that.
Because can you join with audio? The left bottom like you will be having an option. Connect with the audio or Wi-Fi or network. Wi-Fi cellular
To
network.
start,
Oh, there is one person, he's not connected to the audio. Yes, Swagat, you can go ahead.
okay. But can you make me host? I'm not able to share my screen, Ganesh. Yeah, I think now it's working. So hi everyone. This particular course we have designed for GCP data engineer, and in GCP you might already know like all other cloud services. In GCP we have many services, but we are going to cover mostly the services which are relevant for a data engineer. My audio on the screen you are able to see, right, all of you. My audio is also clear, right, to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So, after completion of the course, like you can also go ahead and go for the GCP data engineering certification. In this course, so I'll talk about what are the services of GCP we are going to cover. But if you'll see in an overview in this course, we are going to cover almost 70-80% of the hands-on along with a couple of projects. And then obviously the theoretical concept related to each of the services that we are also going to cover. So in case of the GCP certification, you will see there are many certifications, just like you might have knowledge about the certification which are there in GCP or in any other cloud provider, AWS or Snowflake. There are many certifications, not only for data engineer, they have certification, but for DevOps guys, for normal developer, for data, for architect, for cloud developer. So there are many certifications are there. But as I told, like we are mostly focusing on the data engineering certification, not only on the certification. After this completion of the course, you will feel comfortable like to work on any of the GCP project. In project means any of the data engineering project. So up to that level we are covering in this course. And along with that, not only for data engineering certification, if you want to go for any other certification, more or less like you will find like 30% or 40% concept will be covered in this course. If you want to go for any other, let's say cloud architect certification or just cloud developer certification. So that also you'll find like almost 30%, 40% of the syllabus will be covered in this course as well. Along with that, almost 100% of the syllabus will be covered for the data engineering certification. So this is just related to the GCP data engineering certification. So you need to have a Google Cloud account so that you can create a free trial GCP account. And then once you create a free trial account, you will get $300 of the credit, which will be valid for 3 months or 90 days. And in that 90 days period, you can, whatever the services you are going to use, it will be debited from your free trial account, free trial amount from that account, it will be debited. GCP is not going to charge you a single rupee if you will not activate the full account. So if you are just using the free trial account, everything will be deducted from your free trial credit, which you are going to get once you will create a free trial GCP account. So this was about a GCP free trial account. Second thing is, once you will complete this course and then let's say you want to go for the certification. So in the certification, you will get the questions from all the areas, not only from, let's say, 1 or 2 services. In the project, you may see like only 1 or 2 services are being used in your project. But when it comes to the certification, you'll find like they're going to ask questions from all the services of the GCP. Even some of the services, ML services are also included in the data engineering syllabus. So you will also get some of the ML related questions, machine learning related questions as well in the data engineering exam as well. Questions will be multiple types, MCQ based questions. So either you will have to select one answer, or in some questions you may need to select more than one answer. But all the questions will be MCQ based questions. You will get 2 hours of duration, and you will get around 45 to 55 questions in between that range. The number of questions I'm talking about, you will get in the GCP data engineering certification exam. The exam registration cost to it will come around $200. But if you are getting, in most of the companies, we get the voucher. Using voucher, you can just go ahead and register for your exam, and then you can attempt the exam. Don't worry about the exam. I can guarantee you, like, if you will complete the class and go through all the videos and everything, you will definitely easily pass the exam. But after completion of the course, because in the exam, it's going to cover all the services. And also, I'll provide you some sample questions as well, 2 to 3 sets of the sample questions. Those are not DOMs, because GCP, every now and then, they change their pattern. But the latest version of the sample questions I can provide you, like 2 to 3 sets of the sample questions I also provide. So in this course, we'll see like what are the services we are going to cover. So in this Excel file, I have already listed all the services which we are going to cover. but let me discuss those services. So as I told, so this course is mainly designed for the data engineer. So in initial 1 or 2 weeks, we are going to cover the data engineering fundamentals. So in the data engineering fundamentals, we'll cover the ETL, ELT concept and the SCD concept, data warehouse concept, data lake concept, and then how to create the data modeling concept. So these are the fundamentals which we are going to cover in the data engineering fundamental classes. After that, we are going to start with the GCP services. So in the GCP services, we'll start with the GCP basic services. So where we are going to cover the GCE, Google Compute Engine, and then Google Kubernetes Engine, Google. So here also Google App Engine, Cloud Run, all those things will come inside this basic services. And then also the IAM part also in identity and access management, that also we are going to cover. After completing the basic services, we are going to cover, we'll start with the storage services. Storage and the database services. So in case of the storage services, we are going to cover obviously the GCS, which is Google Cloud Storage, and all other SQL and no SQL database services which are there in the GCP. Like for example, in case of the SQL, we have the Cloud Spanner, we have the Cloud SQL, and in case of the no SQL services, similarly we have Big Table, we have Firestore and the Data Store. So those services we are going to cover in the storage and the database service. Then we are going to cover the BigQuery, which is the data warehousing services. And then we are going to cover the PubSub as well, which is streaming. We are going to use PubSub for streaming pipeline. And then after that, we are going to cover the data processing services. So in the data processing services, there are many services are there. Like there is data flow, data proc, data fusion, and then there is we have the data prep as well. So all of these services we are going to cover. After that, we are going to cover the orchestration services, where we are going to use the cloud composer. And after this, after completion of the cloud composer, we are also going to cover some of the DLP API, data loss prevention API. And then we are also going to cover some of the ML APIs as well, like BQML, BigQuery ML, or Vertex AI. So these are on fundamental level, the ML part. We are going to cover on the fundamental level, because as a data engineer, you don't need much of machine learning services, but still you need to have some knowledge because it will be asked in your exam. And here in the BigQuery part also, we are going to cover DBT, and we are also going to cover how to integrate with the data form as well. So, so here, I would suggest, like, if anyone is coming from different background, like not from data engineering, or if they don't have any knowledge in the data engineering, then if you're asking the prerequisite for this course, I would suggest, like, you need to have the strong knowledge in Python. You need to have strong knowledge in SQL and PySpark. Obviously, we are having the crash course, which we will be doing on over the weekend. But as I told, it is like a crash course. It's not in detail of Python, everything I'll tell, or in detail of SQL. It will be definitely helpful. And in the class course also, we have the project related to, let's say, Python, SQL, or PySpark. But still, I'll suggest you to work on this coding part, to work on this, like to enhance your knowledge on the Python skills, SQL and PySpark, because when you're going for the interview, so in the first round or in the initial round, they are going to ask you questions on Python, SQL and all. After that, they will move on to the GCP related questions, but they will start the interview with by asking you questions, some coding related questions related to Python, SQL and PySpark. If you don't want to start now, once you join the course and once you start the class course, then after that you can also start. But I will still I'll suggest to work on this coding skills continuously. If you have any planning, if you have a plan to move on to the data engineering field. So the course will take around 45 hours. I'm not talking about, not including this class course, only for the GCP course. It will take around 40 to 45 hours to complete. Don't include this class course, because this class course we are going to conduct on the weekends based on my availability and based on your availability. But the GCP course, which I told here, so this course will take around 40 to 45 days, 40 to 45 hours. And we are going to have the classes only over the weekdays, 1 hour every day, either in the evening or in the morning batch. So whichever time will be suitable for everyone. So that on that time we are going to have the classes. Any questions, anything you guys want to ask?
Do we cover stack driver and monitoring services as well?
Some part of the cloud logging and the monitoring, but not in detail. Like you are also covering the Terraform as well. But as I told, not in detail. Those services are not, you don't need as a data engineer, you don't need to know that those services in detail.
This is Matthew here. Any person who has got skill in data warehousing, as well as coding skills like SQL, Python has got a COBOL and all, whether that guy can is this course good for them? Whether there's a prerequisites needed?
No, prerequisite not needed. Like if you already have the SQL knowledge, then prerequisite not needed. It also based on the what role you are going to do after completion of the course. Like if you are having, let's say, 14-15 years of experience, I don't think anybody will ask you to write some Python code or PySpark code. You may be playing a role of an architect. So you need that knowledge, like you need to have the knowledge on all the services, how you can leverage all the services of GCP to design some pipeline. So those things you may need. But if you have the knowledge on Python, PySpark, then definitely it will be an added advantage. But as I told, like based on your experience, you can decide if you have lots of experience around 14-15 years. So I don't think anybody is expecting from you to write some code on Python or SQL.
Yeah, code and all is okay, but the services, okay, that you will be teaching us, right? That's what I could understand.
Yes.
All the services. Okay.
Definitely, this course is very, very helpful. Like if you want to enhance your knowledge on the GCP related services for data engineering services on GCP, this course is will be relevant for you also.
Yeah, I'm focusing on the certification. That's the main thing. Okay. And that's what I just want to know. I want to expand my career and to spread my career. And that's the reason I just want to check.
Yeah. If you are focusing on the data engineering certification, as I told, we are going to cover 100% of the syllabus in the data engineering. But if you are focusing on some other certification, let's say architect or any DevOps certification, so there you will also find we are covering almost 30-40% of the syllabus from these certifications as well.
So can you speak PySpark, sir? Can you teach the PySpark?
Sorry?
PySpark will be taught by you.
Yes. As I told you, like the Python, SQL, and PySpark, we will be having the class course over the weekend based on availability of based on my availability and yours availability. Other than that, also like that is about the teaching of the PySpark, and the PySpark we are mainly going to use while discussing about the data prop. So data prop is a similar services like just like the big data, we have big data cluster. So we are going to use the data prop to create the big data cluster. And while discussing about the data prop, there we need PySpark, not before that. Before that, we can just manage using Python and SQL. But while discussing about the Py data prop, where we are going to create big data cluster, there we need the PySpark, and we'll discuss about the PySpark.
Like Python, we required knowledge. Python knowledge is required, or do we require any knowledge like pandas and numpys? This knowledge also do we require libraries?
Those are Python. So when I say Python knowledge is needed, is like Panda, everything, NumPy, everything is included in that.
And do we cover DevOps basics as well in this GCP DevOps also as a role?
DevOps, you will find, like as I told, 20-30% of the DevOps things will be covering. Like DevOps, people use Terraform and all. Those things will be also discussing here, but not completely DevOps. There are many
And
things.
CI/CD pipelines.
Not in detail. I may tell you about some cloud build or something, but not in detail.
Okay.
Because like as I told, this course is mostly focused on the data engineering, and we have the time limit within 45%. Sorry, 40 to 45 hours. We are going to spend on GCP data engineering services, and there are lots of services as I told. So we are not going to focus much on the DevOps part. You can check with Ganesh. You might have other courses for DevOps if you are interested in DevOps, but this course is mainly designed for data engineering.
Okay.
Hello, Swagat sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, actually, due to some network issue, I'm not able to listen everything properly. See, I'm just asking one thing. Do we need to learn data structure and algorithm to crack Google Cloud data engineering profile?
No, not that.
Not needed, right?
No.
Because I have seen many people, especially not in cloud data side, but especially who are, preparing to crack a job in data engineering role as well as in software development role. They are needed to learn data structure and algorithm. So that is why the reason I had asked you.
So it depends on the company. Okay, so if you are asking about DSA, let's say if you are going for product company like Google or Amazon, so there you may need a little bit DSA, but it's not same as software engineering role. For software engineering role, you need lots of. But if you are going to move into data engineering role, even if you ask me about the interviews in product-based companies, so there also you don't need much of that DSA. If you know Python, that's why I jumped
Data in the cloud data field, they won't ask us a lot of questions.
No.
Okay. I had the only concern about it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
One more question. Do we provide literature and documents related to the certifications in the course? That means to go through the any cheat sheet or something.
Everything will be provided to reports, materials like PDF materials, and sample questions which I told. So everything will be uploaded to your Google Drive, and we'll have a WhatsApp group. Let's say for our batch. So all those people who are going to join, so they will be part of that WhatsApp group, and I will be also there in that WhatsApp group. If you have any concern, anything, you can just post your concerns in that group. I'll try to clarify that.
I'll take care of recording, but don't worry. I'll download it and upload in the Google Drive, then I'll share with you, everyone.
Anything else?
Swagat, Can I know like what is observability in GCP? Like in some of the job postings, I am seeing that GCP observability is required.
That is for DevOps people. Like if you are applying for DevOps, so there they ask you like what is observability. So this is basically related to the CI/CD pipeline. So when you are doing the continuous integration and continuous deployment, so there you need that observability. So basically observability means, let's say if you, in some project, they use project like Prometheus and Grafana. So there they can see the status of the pipeline and status of the deployment, which version they have deployed. That is what observability means. Let's say you have multiple versions of the pipeline, V1 version, V2 version. This V1 version is already deployed and it is running, right? You can see that, let's say you have deployed in Airflow, and then that you can integrate with tools like Grafana and Prometheus. And after that, you made some changes. Now you want to deploy the version 2 of your pipeline, so that you can see like which version is running on my, which version is currently deployed to prod, which version is currently deployed to pre-prod. So all those things you can see using the monitoring tools like Prometheus and Grafana. So there this concept is used. Like mostly it is for DevOps people, not much relevant for data engineering.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Swagat, so hardly it will take to cover this course almost 2 or 3 months, 3 months, right?
Not 3 months, almost 2 months. Like we will do continuously.
Yeah,
2
because
months.
see, I'm a professional. Okay, I'm already working in a company in Bangalore. So every day I have to go to office, and maybe I don't know what time we'll be setting for the class.
Evening time will be 8 to 9 p.m. every day, every weekday. And
Yeah.
morning time is mostly 7:30 to 8:30. That is what we are planning.
Okay,
But
okay.
you can check with Ganesh related to the time.
Definitely, if I made my mind clearly that I have to pursue this course from your institute, definitely I will speak to Ganesh and I will also give my convenient time.
Yeah.
I will speak with Ganesh.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anything else?
Swagat, like GCP observability, like without using non-GCP platforms also, can we use that?
Uh, Without using those platforms, like it depends on what features you want to control. Like, so these tools are really designed for the observability, like Grafana and Prometheus. If you don't want to use, then you need to use the cloud build, so where you can see the which version is deployed and all, so that you can see also there.
Okay.
Yeah, we can move forward also. I think they don't have any questions.
Okay. Okay, guys. So then I have a small demo for you. So here basically we are going to use DBT. Okay, and DBT. Let me tell you about the DBT. So. DBT is basically data transformation tool. So we also call it, this is known as data build tool. And you can integrate DBT with any of the data warehouse, not only with BigQuery, you can integrate with Snowflake, you can integrate with Databricks. So in the DBT, you can create the data pipeline. So you can have, let's say, multiple layers in your data model. You have the, just a minute. Let's say you have a source layer or a raw layer, and then you have the staging layer, and then let's say you have the mirror layer. So let's say you are loading the data from some S3 bucket or from GCS bucket directly to the raw layer without doing any transformation. And then when you are transferring the data from the raw to the staging, you are applying some transformation. Then from staging to, let's say, mirror layer or standard layer or final layer, you are again applying some transformation. So this complete pipeline, end-to-end pipeline, you can basically create using the DBT. Okay. Not only DBT, like there are other tools as well, like Dataform and all, but mainly you will see people are using the DBT. People are using the DBT in most of the project. Okay. So that is what we are going to see. It's not possible to discuss about how to install DBT on your local and all. But so those things we'll discuss in the class. But in DBT, just understand, like there are two versions. One is the DBT core version, and there is one is the cloud version. DBT core version is the free version. So anybody can use it. And this is the CLI based version. Another one is the cloud version, which is the paid version. We are going to use DBT CLI, and I have already integrated DBT CLI with the BigQuery. So basically, I'm going to integrate a data, or I'm going to create my model on the BigQuery by running the DBT code from my local environment. And whenever you are going to local means from my laptop, I'm going to run the laptop where I'll be running the DBT command. And then I'll create the data model in the GCP BigQuery. So here, whenever any local machine is trying to access the GCP services, so we need some authentication service so that the local machine will be authenticated and they can access the GCP services. So there we are going to use the service account. So I'll talk about the service account concept like in detail in the class, but using the service account, we can access the GCP services. Okay. And then, so you can see here, I have the DBT model. So there is a, so here you can see there are multiple folder structure. Okay. And so this folder structure, so we have, there is a model folder structure, and then there are folder structure like macros. There is a profile folder structure, there is sealed file folder structure. So there are multiple folder structure. Okay. Mostly the model which I told, like the raw layer, staging layer and all. So those models will be stored inside the model folder. Okay. And this is like everywhere we are using the model folders in all the projects. So this is the folder structure which we are using. Okay. And in the model folder, you will see I have three model. One is this called a scorecard model. Okay. So this is my data set, which I need to have in my BigQuery. This is the second model, and this is my third model. Okay. So this is simple SQL model. In DBT, we are using only SQL. Using SQL, you can do the data transformation, completely end-to-end data transformation you can do using the SQL. So let me upload the data. So what I'm going to do is I will store the data. So basically the call is scorecard file. I need to create a data set in the BigQuery. There is some issue in the UI. So this is my Google Cloud free trial account, which I have created. Let me try. Okay. So I'm going to upload this because if you'll see on my past model, so it will search for this BigQuery with this table name. Okay, this is my past model. And here I'm using the macro. So macro is basically the Python function or any SQL, Excel macro if you have created. So just to avoid doing any repetitive task, we can define the macro and then we can call the macro wherever we need in our model. So here if you see in this macro, what we are doing, we are just filling up the numeric values. So wherever we are passing a column name to this macro, and if the column name is null or it is having this character, it's going to change the column name to the float. Otherwise, it will be null. That is what we are doing in this macro. And this macro we are basically calling here. In this function, we are calling the, in this model, if you'll see, we are calling that cleanup macro. We are passing the column name from the data set. So right now, I'm uploading the data set. It will take some time. In between, let me create the table in the BigQuery. Okay, so I have already created the CH4 table. Okay, let me, I already have the data set. Can we use that? This data set, you can see it's already available. Let me delete all other tables. Okay, so we have the data set here, and this is a little bit big data set. So that's why like will not, we can see the preview. We can see some of the rows and the columns in this data set. So this is our source data set. So this data set we are going to use in my model. From this data set, I am going to create the second model, which is selective fast chain model. And you can see here, this is referencing the, sorry, I'm going to create this model, selective fast chain model. This model is using the college scorecard model as the reference. And then from this second model, I'm creating the selective fast chain top 10 model. So in some of the model, I'm creating the table. In some of the model, I'm creating the views. If you see here, I'm just creating a view. I'm not creating the table. I hope you all understand the difference between the table and the views in the databases, right? So the last model, the final layer model, we are creating just a view. That's why I have mentioned here in the config that I'm going to create a view. I'm not creating any table here. And then here, you need to have the huge project file. So this is my DBT project profile file. So on this project profile file, I need to specify my profile name. and the same profile name should be available in the .dbt folder. So I have a folder for .dbt. Inside the .dbt, I have a user profile folder. And here also you can see the same profile name, dbt BigQuery. I think this is the one. So this same profile name is also available here. So using the same profile name. So because here in the dbt, so these two files are very, very important. These two YAML file, dbt project YAML file and the profile.yaml file. So these two files are very, very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to connect to your data warehouse. So when you are going to connect, so basically here, whatever the profile name you have specified, based on that profile name, it's going to look for the credentials and all. So as I told you, like I'm going to use the service account. This is not the only way to connect to your databases, to connect to your data warehouse. There are other ways as well, but here we are going to use the service account. I'll talk about what all other ways are there in the class. But right now, just understand that using the service account key file, we are going to connect to my data warehouse, which is BigQuery. And I have specified the project ID and all. So this is the project ID, which I'm using in my GCP account. Data warehouse is BigQuery. Similarly, we can connect to Snowflake and all. But right now, I'm going to connect to the BigQuery. I have my table, and then I'm creating all these models here. Okay. I'm creating the selective fast and top 10 model, which is a view. Other two models are table, as I told you. So the college scorecard model is my source model. From the college scorecard model, I'm creating second model, which is selective fast and model, which is also a table. And then from there, I'm creating the selective fast and top 10 model. Okay. So in order to run the command, so I need to go to my terminal. So as I told, so this is where we are going to use the dbt core here. So I have already created the virtual environment. And here I'm using VS Code. You might be already knowing about the VS Code. So I'm going to activate the virtual environment, which I have created, because whenever you are going to run the dbt command, you need to install a couple of application and the library so that you can run the GCP, so you can run the dbt command. So the first command which I'm going to run is I'll run the dbt debug just to check if all the profile files and everything is correct or not. So I will run the dbt debug command. It's going to validate this dbt project YAML file along with the profile file which I told. So right now it is showing not valid. I think it's not checking in the correct directory. Okay. dbt debug. So now it's showing all checks are passed, and it's showing like in which table, in which data set, in which project I'm going to connect based on this profile file and based on this dbt project file. Then I can run my model. So in order to run the model, you need to simply use the dbt run command. There are many other arguments are there as well, which we also need to use. But right now we can just simply run the dbt run model to create my model. And it's going to create this 3 model in my BigQuery data warehouse. So the data set, which I have specified, the DWH bike sharing data set, this is the data set which it's going to create. Right now you can see there is no data set, but I think it might have already created this data set, because based on the logs, I can see it has already processed and it has created this table, right? It has loaded this many number of rows. Similarly, it has created the second model, which is selective fast gen model. And then the last model is the selective fast gen top 10 model. So all these three models it has created. I can go to my BigQuery. I can refresh it. Here you can see it has already created, and all these models I have. So this one is a view. You can just simply query it. Can run query on the BigQuery console on the view. So you can see there are data. And then on the selective fast gen model, so this is a table. Here we can see the data. Okay, so it has created 3 layers of the model. Okay. So and also like if you want to see the model, the data, the lineage graph, you can also see the lineage graph. Like how it is creating the model. So we can generate a DBT docs as well, and then we can generate the DBT lineage graph for my model, so that I can visualize the model in the URL, in the web service URL. I can visualize my model. Right now it is building the catalog. DBT sort. Check about that command. Docs sort DBT docs sort. So here you also you can see the logs as well. Okay. So here the logging for the DBT logging, whatever we did, whatever the command we ran. So here you can see it has created the same log. Okay. And right now I can see the lineage graph. I can see this is my model. And here inside this model, I have all, so this is my model folder. Inside that I have this is my model. And you can also see the database or data set which I have created in the BigQuery. And you can see all those tables as well. And also how this model it has created. So that lineage graph you can see, like I was telling right initially, you will have the raw layer or the source layer, and then you'll have the second layer that says this is the staging layer and this is your standard layer. So like this, you can also see the lineage graph. You can also call this as the observability as well. But yeah, this is the lineage graph where we can see how we are creating the model. Okay. So that's all I had for this demo session. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Avinash?
Yes, sir. Do we cover Apache Beam also in this? Like we use it in data flow, right?
Yes, in data flow. So while covering data flow, we'll cover that.
Okay. Like Python or SQL, do we provide any crash course for that as well? Or
Python not with Apache Beam. Apache Beam is the just framework model. For writing the script, we are going to use Python.
okay.
Anything else?
Matthew? Nilesh, any questions? Okay, then if you don't have any questions, then we can wind up for now.
Yeah, Swagat, one more thing. Like, can you explain, like, in the not now, like in the course, like migration project or anything we'll be taking in this as an example?
Yeah, I can tell you like how to do the migration, but we don't have any project like if you're asking, let's say I want to migrate the data from my Teradata to BigQuery. So I can tell you like what are the steps or what are the ways to migrate, but we don't have any Teradata setup or anything like to show you like this is how migration is simple thing. You need to write the pipeline, and based on the pipeline, the data will be migrated in the incremental way so that I can tell you in the class.
Okay. And projects also you will be explaining, right? Like any of the projects, how by using all the components of GCP,
Correct.
how the pipelines we are doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Everything like how to install the DBT and how to do the setup. I didn't cover that because it will take time. But I just told you like in an overview, like you need to have this profile file and all. This is the service account. So, but everything I'll cover in detail in the class.
Anything?
Anything else?
Okay, Swagat, we can wind up now. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.